Good evening, Durham community. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's Facebook Live session, the third part of our Countdown to Kindergarten series. We are very excited that you all have joined us today. My name is Kathleen James, and I am the K-2 Literacy Facilitator with Durham Public Schools. And I'll let my lovely partner introduce herself.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Latoya McCrimmon, and I'm the Transition to Kindergarten Facilitator for Durham Public Schools.
And tonight we have some incredible teachers from Glen Elementary joining us today, some kindergarten teachers here to answer each and every one of your questions about kindergarten. So we have Miss Fuller, Miss Rowe, and Miss Dudley who will be joining us, and they will be sharing their perspectives with the series of questions that we have. And we also encourage you to submit questions to ask these teachers as well. Again, we appreciate you joining us, and we're going to bring our first teacher on, and we will begin tonight's Q&A session. So please welcome Miss Fuller from Glen Elementary. How are you doing tonight, Miss Fuller?
Hi, I'm good. How are y'all?
Good. We appreciate you joining us tonight.
No
We're going to get started just thinking about this big transition of kindergarten. And so can you tell us a little bit about what families can do now to prepare their students for kindergarten?
Okay, so some things that you can do are develop a independence for all the students. So let them do things at home by themselves, get dressed by themselves, maybe fix them a bowl of cereal, which it may get messy, but we can clean up. Also help them develop help skills. Wiping their own face when they need to, blowing their own nose, knowing when to ask for help, knowing when to help someone else, or knowing when to tell the teacher when someone is in danger. Help them with their letters and sounds. That's really, really, really big for kindergarten, coming into kindergarten. And also spelling and writing their name. So that is just the gist. Reading to your child as well is very important. So that is just the general few bullet points to help your child prepare for kindergarten.
Thank you. Yes, we know those foundational literacy skills and those independence and self-help skills are very important for our kindergarten students. So now thinking about when our students have entered into kindergarten during the school year, how can families support their students during the kindergarten school year?
I would just say be open and willing to communicate with your child's teacher, willing to receive the information from your child's teacher, and never hesitate to ask a question when you need something, no matter what it is. Always be open and ready to ask help for your child. Be involved in the classroom. A lot of times we have teacher parents in the classroom, but because of COVID, we had to put that to the side. But hopefully we'll be able to get back to having the parents come into the classroom and do some things like art activities or reading with their child, and continue learning at home, doing homework, practicing when you don't have to practice your ABC. And reading to you.
I think we cut out just a little bit, Miss Fuller, but that's okay. Will you repeat the last piece that you said?
Oh, having a daily routine for your child, because when they come to kindergarten, it's going to be a routine. It's going to be structure. So just starting out a daily routine with your child, knowing what time they have to do homework, what time is time to go to bed, and you can create a schedule for them, or interactive schedule for them to move when it's time to go to bed, so they'll know what they're doing as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that, Ms. Fuller.
You're welcome.
And so thinking about the fact that, all of our students are diverse learners, how do you meet the different needs of students in your kindergarten classroom?
First is accepting and loving and caring for those students, and then providing a variety of opportunities of learning, providing direct instruction for them, small group instruction for them, and just keeping students engaged. And sometimes it involves visiting the homes to see how they live, so that you can incorporate some of those things inside of the classroom as well.
Yes, those homeschool connections are so important.
Yes.
Very important.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to answer a few questions. Before we welcome our next panelist, we do want to ask you as well, why do you love being a kindergarten teacher?
Ooh, why do I love being a kindergarten teacher? Let's see. I have always loved children. Children have always been my passion. I've always wanted to help students learn, because when I was in school, I didn't like school. So I want kids to be able to come to school. I want kids to want to learn and create an environment, a safe environment, a professional environment for each child to want to learn, to want to go to first grade, to say what they've learned to their parents at home. So it makes me happy when I get the phone calls of, oh, I learned this from Miss Fuller today. So it lets me know that they're learning. And I just love to love on kids.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And we are so grateful that you are one of our amazing kindergarten teachers in this district. Thank you for all you do.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
thank you.
All right. And we now have Miss Rowe joining us. Welcome, Miss Rowe. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you all?
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. I guess the first question that we have for you is, what are some skills that help students feel successful in kindergarten?
So actually this kind of plays off Miss Fuller's question just a little bit. So my biggest thing are the life skills at home. So like Miss Fuller said, knowing how to take care of themselves, keeping their area clean, nice and neat, using the bathroom on their own, how to wash their hands. So those are playing off of the life skills. But as much when it comes to the education piece, academic piece, I would say recognizing and knowing their name. They love to see their name everywhere. So the teacher labeling it on their bins, their book bins in the classroom, they love to point out that that's their name. So actually knowing their name kind of coming in plays a big role. And letters and sounds leads and guides kindergarten from the time of learning the letters and sounds up until reading. So after being a teacher for as many years as I have, letters and sounds is kindergarten still too.
Thank you. We appreciate you sharing that.
Mhm.
And I know Ms. Fuller touched on this a little bit, but can you tell us a bit more about how families can be involved in their child's kindergarten class? And specifically, like, how can they communicate with schools and their teachers?
Absolutely. So many schools, we have applications that we use to contact the parents. So mine in particular is Class Dojo, and I'm sure across the board, many teachers use Class Dojo. So that is direct contact with the teacher. The teacher will post all things kindergarten, all things Miss Rowe's class will be on there. So Class Dojo looks exactly like a Facebook story. So as the teacher posts, we're going to have an early release date tomorrow. Students will be out at 1 p.m. Please make arrangements to pick them up. That's on there. It's going directly to their phone. So the teacher will actually send the link for them to join that at the beginning of the school year, maybe during open house. And that's direct contact to the parent. You're able to comment on that. If you want to make a comment in public, you can direct message the parent. And that's the best way to stay involved. If you ever feel the need to, I want to know what's going on next week, like what are the letters and sounds they want to know so I can get ahead, or what are our sight words for the week so she can get ahead. That's direct communication with the parent, and it's great to be involved with them that way.
I'll have to interject and say, Miss Rowe, that was when I finally learned how to use Class Dojo. I used to remind a lot in the beginning. It was very helpful because it did come straight to your phone. And if there was an emergency or anything important that you needed to get out quickly, parents having that installed on their phones was the best thing that happened. And once I started using it, I just kept using it. And I will say that it is when you tell parents sign up for it, make sure they all get on it, because a lot of important information can get out quickly that way. And I love those apps.
Absolutely.
Yes. And it's a nice way to share student work as well. You can just snap a picture and send it out right through that app.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Ms. Rowe.
Mm-hmm.
I know we kind of just touched on it now, but could you tell us a little bit more about the role of technology in the kindergarten classroom?
Yes, absolutely. So technology works both ways on the teacher's end and the student's end. So every student in DPS will be assigned a Chromebook. Every student, no matter if they're elementary, high school, everybody's going to get a Chromebook. And each school has a different learning platform. Ours in particular is Lexia, and everybody has Clever. So they will access Clever, and that's where they would get on their online learning platforms, and they may use that sometime throughout the day, whether that be center time or some downtime that they may have. So students will have technology, and teachers use technology to display learning, teaching and learning slides for the kids to look at daily.
Great, thank you. And just like we asked Ms. Fuller, we would love to know, Ms. Rowe, why do you love being a kindergarten teacher?
It's really the bonds that I build with the students. I feel like each one is my baby in a different way, each and every one of them. It's the bonds you build. It's listening to the conversations that they have, that you know that the knowledge that you've pumped into them, and you hear them reciting it back, and you hear them telling their friends, come on, we have to do our letters. And it's just the excitement of, wow, I really just instilled into this child all that I can give to them. And to hear them pour it back out to me, it brings tears to my eyes every time. And the little kids always grab onto your heart and tug on your heartstrings as much as possible. So I really love being a kindergarten teacher. I love children. I've always wanted to do this, and I don't see myself going anywhere else.
Well, that's good. We are so happy you're staying here in DPS with us. Bringing tears to my eyes just describing that. Well, thank you so much for joining us and answering those questions. And we look forward to seeing you around Glen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. And for our audience, if you have any questions that you would like to ask our wonderful kindergarten teachers, please put them in the chat. Hey, Miss Dudley.
Hey. And we are now joined by Miss Dudley. She's also a kindergarten teacher from Glen Elementary, and she's going to answer some other questions that we have. And again, like LaToya said, if you have questions, please put them in the chat. We would love to answer them.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, no problem.
Well, we're going to start talking about social emotional learning. So can you tell us a little bit about how social emotional learning is built into the kindergarten school day?
Yes. So we use color zones in our school to help students with expressing their emotions, about how they are feeling throughout the day. And we also use restorative circles in which we do doing our morning meeting time, where students get to express how they're feeling, if they're having a good day, a bad day. In my own personal classroom, we give them also so I know that when that student comes in the room, I may a bit.
I think Miss Dudley's cutting out just a little bit. She pops back up. There she is. Miss Dudley, would you mind repeating the last couple of things you said? You were cutting out just a little bit.
I'm sorry. I was just saying that, I don't know if you heard me when I said some of the things. One personal thing I do is I have something where it's handled with care with my parents. Parents are allowed to text me in the morning if their child is having a rough day. So when they come into the classroom, I already know that I need to give that student a little bit something extra that day. And I also was just speaking on how we use our restorative circles in the morning, doing morning meeting, where everyone gets to share how they're feeling. And then we give them, love to them in the classroom. And it really makes a difference throughout the day, because everyone gets to share and express how they're feeling. And it's okay if you feel sleepy or tired, and it's all right.
Yeah. And you have that whole community there to support you.
Yes.
So switching gears and thinking a little bit more about the academic side of kindergarten, what are the grade level expectations for each subject area in kindergarten?
Well, it's changed over the years. So there's quite a few expectations now. If I'm just gonna run and be as brief as I can, but starting with reading, like Ms. Rowe has spoke on, letters and sounds is a major one. I always let parents know that your child knowing their letters and sounds is going to help them to be able to recognize words. And then once they can recognize words, they put those words together, then they're going to be building sentences and reading sentences. So letters and sounds, recognizing their sight words, those high frequency words, those words that we want them to be able to look at that word and just be able to read it. Writing simple sentences. Reading the levels between A to D, level readers, preferably a D at the end of the school year. Answering questions, being able to ask questions, blending words. Those are just a few things like in the block of just reading. Then in math, counting to 100, being able to count and recognize numbers from 1 to 20, counting by tens, one-to-one correspondence, addition and subtraction within 5, within 10, counting from a given number. And And those are just a few. I know it's a lot, but it's still a few things that they will be able to recognize in reading and math. And then our other subjects, as far as our social studies goes, that kind of correlates with our HMH, our reading curriculum. So we kind of touch bases on some of those things while we are teaching during our reading time. And then with science, they will get to learn all about weather and animals, force and motion, and physical properties. So that's just like a little gist of everything. But
we can tell they're busy during the school year.
Oh,
They're
yes.
learning lots.
Always let parents know there is no more nap time. There's no nap. We don't have time for a nap. We have lots of learning to do.
Yes. Well, and just like we asked Miss Fuller and Miss Rowe, will you tell us a little bit about why you love teaching kindergarten?
Oh, yes. So I love teaching kindergarten. One of my favorite things about kindergarten is watching the progress. Watching the students come in and not be able to write their name or not be able to count to 100, and then watch at the end of the school year where they can do like all of these things that I helped them be a part of them being successful. Like that is like my favorite absolute thing. And I love building relationships with my students as well as my parents. I love making those connections. I love it. And I think like Ms. Rose said, she wouldn't want to do anything else. I've only want to do two things in my life, be a teacher and a singer. And I think I'm going to stick with teaching.
You can always bring the singing into the classroom too.
Oh, I do. And my team knows I do.
I love it. Well, we really appreciate you joining us and sharing your perspective.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Thank you to all the wonderful teachers from Glenn Elementary for sharing their thoughts with us and providing our families with a little bit of information on what they need to have for them to be prepared for kindergarten and for their students to be prepared for kindergarten. It's a big step for families. It's a big step for our students, and we want you guys to be as prepared as possible. We didn't have any questions in our chat. So with that, I'm going to say thank you for joining us. We appreciate you being here. And if at any time you have any type of questions or concern, you can always go to the DPS website and find the answers that you're looking for. If not, there's a phone number there. That's where somebody can help you. dpsnc.net for all your enrollment needs and kindergarten information. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate you, and we hope that we were able to provide you with lots of necessary information.
Thank you all so much.